Everybody, welcome to Late Horror Show. This is Paranormal Into the Night. What is going on? Nice to see everybody in the chat already. No intro music today. Working on a new paranormal intro. You guys will really like it. So we're starting right off and getting into it. Boy, everybody with RTN, I did not know that you've seen UFOs. So we are going to get to Tom Conwell here in a second. But Frank also had some experiences. Amazing. Edward, Bubba, Connie, Chris W, Tracy, Ginger, Droon is here. Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody. Horror Junkie is here. Good to see everybody. WWM is here. If you guys have questions, I will try my best to catch them during the stream. If I miss it, you can always repeat it. And I'm sure I'll catch it. You're kicking butt with the streams this week. Good stuff, says RTN. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I won't leave him waiting any longer. Let's go right to Tom Conwell. We are going to talk UFOs, aliens, conspiracies, maybe. And he also did paranormal investigations. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But first, how are you doing, Tom?
Great, Dino. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this for a while, and based on your chat room, it looks like a lot of other people have been looking forward to it also.
Oh yeah, they all enjoy the paranormal talk. Some get out of hand in the chat, but you're going to get that when you start talking paranormal, right? People just
Oh
like,
boy, all you have to do is talk about orbs, and then you're off and running.
oh god, yeah. Oh, you mentioned it, but anyways, we'll move on. We'll move on for sure. But we do have the links also for his books, and I do believe you've got 4 books, right? Am I wrong? 5
Five.
books. Okay,
Yep.
5 books. The link down below in the description is a link to Amazon, and you could find all his books right there in that link.
The one link has 4 books. I
Okay.
gave you another link with another book. For whatever reason, they didn't
Mm,
put them together. I don't know what they did or why, but
huh.
one of
Okay.
the links has 4 books and the other link just has one.
Okay. So that's the link I got. I've got the link that has the 4 books,
Okay.
and I'll get the other link down there eventually. So,
Okay.
but we will get going here. Sam Barker, what's up? Looks like the Mummy and the Monkey is here too. CM. Okay, so Tom, let's start off. Where did you? How did you get into this? Where did it all begin for you? When you were a
Okay.
kid?
Well, actually, yes.
Okay.
Um, when I was 8, 10 years old, my aunt at the time was the um, was the secretary for the Astronomical League of America, and she would go to conferences every so often, and she asked me if I wanted to go to one with her. Well, I
Okay.
jumped at that chance, and I went to about 6 of them over the next 6 years, and I got a real healthy dose of astronomy,
Mhm.
and I was raring to go then, believe me. But of course, things got in the way. College, military. Um, I worked for Honeywell for 36 years. So
Yeah,
I was,
you worked for the military, so to speak. Maybe not in a capacity where you would be, involved with any of the black projects or anything like that. But you have some military experience, and thank you for that.
yeah, oh, absolutely. You're very welcome. It was a blast. I loved every minute of it. Um, but I was involved with the nuclear program, and even though I never talk about it, it was very interesting. Uh, but anyhow,
Yeah.
once I finally retired with Honeywell, I was about 62, and I had already been uh, interested in in paranormal. So I
Okay.
joined a paranormal group, and the paranormal group wanted to get a UFO aspect to it. So I jumped at that, and then I sat down and I wrote a bunch of blogs that sort of introduced everyone to me. And what I did was I wrote them so that everyone would know if we, as a group of people on the earth, would want to go to their planet, what kind of problems would we have to solve? Uh, and it was pretty interesting.
Hmm.
I got quite a bit of interest in that, and
Okay.
when when that was done, I just put my blogs to the side, and I just involved myself with UFOs and UFO databases.
Hmm.
And because I worked with Honeywell, I was involved heavily with databases.
Okay.
So I figured it was just a natural extension to get into the databases and see um, what kind of um, sequences I can find. Are there any patterns? Things like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So, but you never had from the early part of your life, you just never seen a UFO? Never seen anything out of the
nothing,
ordinary?
not a thing,
Okay,
not
but
a thing.
interesting, interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
Until until I was writing my first book
Okay.
and also studying some of the things surrounding the UFO experience. And one
Mhm.
of those was something called CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. Well,
Okay.
what that is a group of people getting together, and they all go into a meditation, and they supposedly are able to call up the ships and bring them into themselves, closer, anyhow. Well, I
Okay.
thought,
Huh.
well, if they can do that, there should be no reason why I couldn't do that by myself. Why do I need a group of people? So I started sitting sitting there on the porch looking out at the sky and
Mhm.
saying, I'm ready for contact, you know.
Yeah.
Um, please come closer.
Okay.
Well, nothing happened for quite a while.
Okay.
And then I was just finishing up my first book. And right at the very end of when I finished up my first book was actually 2 nights before I sent it in for download. So, um,
Hmm.
2 nights before I sent it in, my
Okay.
wife called me in the back room here and said, "Go on in the back and look up." So I went running out
Huh.
back and looked up and saw this humongous fireball that was so bright I couldn't believe it. It was actually brighter than the moon. Um,
A fireball. When you say
Fireball,
fireball, what do you mean? Is it
a
moving?
ball of
Does it got
fire. Yep, a
okay.
ball of fire. Okay, and
Okay.
it was approximately, kind of hard to say how big it was, but I would have guessed that it was no bigger than 50 feet across. But it was on fire, bright orange, and very, 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 very bright, like I said, and not a sound. Well,
And was
my
it
wife,
hovering there or was it moving?
no, no, it was moving. It was moving.
Okay.
Matter of fact, from my perspective, it was moving up behind a cloud bank, and then it disappeared. So my wife called me again and said, "Here they come again. Here's two more again." So I was,
Hmm.
like I said, I was in the backyard and I didn't see them. So I figured, well, she's seeing them in the front. So I went running out to the front, and there they were, two more flying across the sky, um, extremely bright, not making a sound,
Okay.
and also not making any uh, strange movements, just very slowly across the sky. And at the same point in the sky, my wife explained to me, the same point in the sky, it made a turn upward and then disappeared out behind the clouds, like I had seen when I was in the back.
Okay, so it did stop, shoot up. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And when you say fireball, do you
Yep.
mean actually it looked like it was actually fire or
Yeah.
it was just bright?
No, it was a ball of fire.
A ball of fire.
A ball of fire. Yep.
Hmm.
Very unusual, but they were very prominent within the National UFO Reporting Center in their database. So,
Interesting. Okay. So
um,
I'm just trying to think what would be the reasoning behind an alien species covering themselves up and making it seem like it was fire? Maybe to mask the
well,
fact that like it's a meteor or something like that, or
perhaps they wanted to do that. I really don't know why,
hmm.
but um, I can tell you that they were beautiful.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, a fireball in the sky,
Yeah,
probably. And how?
absolutely. Absolutely beautiful, Dino. Absolutely beautiful.
Uh,
I could watch this thing all day long. It was gorgeous.
oh gosh,
And
yeah.
the next few minutes, I waited, and there was another one up in the sky. Now, at this point, I was beginning to wonder, why couldn't I see them earlier? In other words, were they coming from the north, which was, in my perspective, up the Hudson River?
Okay.
So were they coming down the Hudson River and I wasn't seeing them? So this one, the single one, did the same thing as the others did. At the same point in the sky, it
Mhm.
made a slight angle upward and then went up and behind the clouds. So I'm standing out there wondering, what the heck is going on? And
Hmm.
I realized, well, there's two more. So uh, at this point, I'm saying, where the heck are these things coming from? And why can't I see them coming from the north? Because let me tell you, they were the brightest thing in the sky.
Hmm.
So these next two did exactly the same thing. And they were sort of in a formation, kind of
Yeah.
like a wingman formation. And at the same point in the sky, they
Okay.
angled upward and went out behind the clouds. So what I
Hmm.
did was I turned my head to the north and looked into a section of the sky, swearing I was not going to blink until I figured out where these things were coming from. So I'm
Okay.
looking at the sky, and the sky was black, looking at the sky. And all of
Yeah.
a sudden, it's like somebody flicked on a switch. Boop, boop. There were two of them right in the sky, not very far away. And I was looking right at them.
Wow. No,
And
that sounds amazing. Let me thank Poetic Justice really quick for the super sticker and Horror Junkie for Life. Thank you for the super chat, $10. We should have Pepe protect us from the invasion if that doesn't work. Barrels of Donald Duck apple juice. I don't think Tom gets that reference, but it's something on the channel. So
okay.
very, very interesting. Thank you, Horror Junkie, and thank you. Poetic Justice, and I see Rich Cat Ranch has made it, and everybody else, and I do see the other comments there. Thank you, Frank McLeod. Very funny stuff, and Kathy. But listen, these could be smaller ships that were going up to a larger ship, perhaps. Maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean,
I don't know.
you didn't see anything else, so who knows?
No,
So,
no. Believe me, I looked. I
yeah.
saw nothing else.
Yeah, well, a very interesting experience. I mean,
Um,
the fireball effect is kind of strange. Like
mhm.
for me, I would think it would be something they use to kind of throw us off from what it really is. Maybe.
um, in one of the people in, I believe it was Ohio,
Mhm.
they described seeing a fireball, and they said the fire turned off on the fireball, and what was left was a disc. a
Okay, so
flying
see?
saucer.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so is it possible that that's what they all are? I guess it's possible.
Well,
Um,
like you said, you've got a witness who, said it went off. Looks like a disc. In my mind, I see that it's kind of cloaking itself, trying to confuse the people down here that it's nothing but a meteor.
mhm.
But if you look long enough, like you did, and you see it stop, shoot straight up, I mean, that's not a fire. That's not a meteor. That's not an
No, no,
asteroid. Yeah.
no.
So,
And these things were moving approximately 110, 120 knots,
okay.
roughly the speed of a plane landing.
Okay, okay. Very interesting. Okay, so
Yep.
that took you to well, your book was coming out and you finally seen something, which is
So
kind of
yeah,
cool.
and I wrote about it
Okay.
in the intro to the book, and I
Okay.
thought that was kind of cool. Well, it so happens I didn't see anything after that for a little while,
Mhm.
and I was finishing my second book. That was entitled "They Are Here," Volume 2. I
Mhm.
was finishing that book, and the night before I was ready to send that one in to um, for a download,
Okay.
the night before I saw another UFO.
It's totally different or the same
Yep,
kind?
totally different,
Okay,
totally
how
different.
this happen? It's kind of
Um,
strange. Do they know that hey, Tom is coming out with a book. Let's show him
I
ourselves. Yeah.
I don't know, but when I
Interesting.
was looking up into the sky, I said um, that I was ready to meet them. I was also ready to um, have another vision of what they were going to show me, and
Mhm.
also I would like to include it in my next book.
Okay. Anything else other than seeing it? I mean,
Yeah, I was on vacation in Vermont, excuse me, in New Hampshire.
okay.
It's about 160 miles from here,
So this
and
is another sighting,
yeah, another
right?
sighting, different sighting.
Okay.
And I was on a balcony overlooking a lake, and oh, it was gorgeous. There wasn't a ripple on the lake, and you could see the lights from the other side of the lake glistening. It was just beautiful that night, and I was looking out and thinking, boy, I sure would like to have another sighting, but seeing that I'm out here doesn't look like I'm going to get anything. And I heard in my head, look up.
Huh. Okay.
So I did.
Yeah.
I looked up, and in the sky was this flash of red that covered about a third of the sky, bright flash of red. And out of the center of this
Mhm.
came this white thing, right? It was just so bright I couldn't really tell what it was, and it just took off and disappeared over the horizon in less than a second.
A nighttime sighting then, right?
Yep, yep.
Was it just like a white ball that came out of there, or you just really couldn't distinguish?
Um, it was moving so fast I couldn't tell it was a ball, but it really did look more like a cigar shaped thing.
Okay. Okay. So perhaps a portal opened and it took off, and
Maybe. I mean, mm,
what were the shapes of the second sighting that you were just talking about? What were those? I can't remember when the second book came out.
okay. The second book, that was the cigar shape that came out of the portal.
Okay. So this, I thought you were going on with the third sighting. So
Not
that,
yet. Nope.
okay. So you got two different. You got the fireball. You got the cigar shape. They seem to be letting you know they're around when your
Boy,
book
they
is
sure
about to
were. Yep.
be released, which is strange. A horror junkie for life. She's pretty deep into what's going on here. She said, the government is covering the information up because they don't want us to know the meaning of life, which is 42. I'm not sure what that means, which is 42. Does that ring a bell?
No, I don't
No?
understand that. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, horror junkie, but I mean, the first part of that, I definitely would kind of agree with you,
Yeah,
probably. But,
yeah.
anyways, super sticker from Ginger, one girly girl, Dizzy Face. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's see, cigar shaped thing. The one I saw was also very bright and reflective and going very fast after a brief pause, says Frank McLeod, who's evidently had quite a few sightings. But why do you think, Tom, that they were showing themselves right before you were ready to release the book? You think you were just more open to it because the book's coming out? And I mean, what do you think's going on there?
I think I was extremely open to it, and I think that they were ready to share things with me because that wasn't the only thing that happened. There was all kinds of stuff that were happening around me that I haven't even mentioned yet, and um,
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure they were in close contact with me.
Okay, and the reason behind that is what? I mean, what other things have happened that
Oh,
kind of
okay.
did? Okay, yeah.
Um, I had a waking dream. It was one of those dreams that is just so real you can't believe it. But I was walking down a pathway in the woods. I
Hmm.
could feel wet leaves under my feet, and this is night. Okay, I could
Okay.
feel the wet leaves under my feet, and then I came around a corner, and there was I guess for lack of a better word, an egg-shaped ship. It was landed, and there
And it
was
was a ship, or was it like an obelisk, or
no, it was
it was a ship?
egg shaped,
Okay,
and
okay,
it looked like a ship. It
okay.
wasn't particularly big either. I mean, and there was a guy sitting outside of it, and he was a person made out of light,
Shaped like
100%.
it?
No,
Limbs,
he's shaped
head?
like, yep, shaped like a human, but made out of light. I could almost look directly through him, but he was so bright I couldn't look at him.
Huh.
Yeah. So
That's interesting,
yeah,
geez.
he asked me if he could he could borrow my energy to heal his shipmate. So,
Really?
and I thought, well, that's a little weird. Okay, I went, sure. I mean, I'm in a dream. At least I think it
Yeah.
was a dream. And I said, sure. He says, okay, come on the ship. And I looked at this ship, and I I said to myself, looking at it, two people aren't going to fit in here. So we walked into the ship, and this thing was freaking massive.
Ugh,
I don't know how they did that, but I mean it was just
huh,
enormous. So I
interesting.
stood next to a person who was laying down, and he said,
W
"Stand there. Let me use your energy, um, because
t
because
t
I need
t
to
t
have it or something."
yeah,
So so he
and
did.
what did this person look like laying on the table?
He's the same as the other guy,
A
made out
light
of light.
being. Okay,
Yep.
okay.
So he said, "Well, okay, Tom. Thank you for." I don't know how he knew my name, because I didn't mention it. He said, "Thank you for your time. You can go back now." And so I remember leaving the ship, and then I woke up in my bed. And the first thing I did was I reached down and grabbed my feet, thinking that
Yeah,
I was going to have leaves stuck to them.
and nothing,
Nothing.
nothing. Okay,
No.
okay. Well, you know what?
It was that real. I mean, it was that real.
Yeah. Horror Junkie for Life super chat, $5. Thank you very much. The Douglas Adams books, Dino. You haven't read those. I will check them out. Thank you. Much love to you, Horror Junkie. Really appreciate it. It makes sense, Tom, in a way that the being itself is made of light.
Yeah.
And what is light? Energy. So to
Yeah.
heal and to ask you for some of your energy, It kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
Although you would think he'd have enough energy there, as bright as he was, to heal him. But who knows? Who knows?
yeah,
Who knows?
yeah. I know.
It, it's an interesting story, that's for sure. That's so what else then? That's amazing in itself, Tom. I mean, I love the story. The story's awesome. Egg shaped, and when you went into it, well, what do you think? And you've been I think your background kind of can point to that maybe. Why going into the ship that looks so small was it so large inside?
Oh, I have no idea.
No idea.
I
Okay,
mean,
good.
not
I
a
gave it a shot.
clue.
Gave it a shot.
Not a clue. Tracy asked the question, does Tom think it could have been, whoops, where did it go? Does
An
Tom think it
abduction
could have been an abduction?
rather than a dream. Yeah,
Yeah, it's possible. Um,
possible.
because multiple times since then, I think that I have been taken, but not physically. In other words, my body remained in the bed, but
Mhm.
they took my conscious mind and talked to me.
Okay, okay, okay. So you're having like different types of abductions where the physical body technically isn't being taken aboard ship or anything like that,
Yep.
but somehow your energy, your spirit, your conscious, whatever you want to call it, is being taken there. And with that, I mean, are they giving you any kind of information? Are they letting you know anything? You know, hey, what's the reason behind it?
Well, that's a great question because um, for the longest time, I would go to bed, let's say at 11 o'clock at night, and fall right to sleep. That's what I usually do. And then wake up at 3, like I haven't been to bed. My mind is full of nonsense. It's like somebody has been um, lecturing me for hours.
Okay.
And
And just
then
no remembering of anything that really
Um, not
happened.
really, but what will happen is the next morning I'll go through, start reading Facebook and read comments on Facebook, and then a word or something like that will trigger something within me, and it'll make me post about UFOs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything other than that that like you can remember them trying to get across to you or anything like that, or just nothing really concrete?
Nothing yet, um, but I
Okay.
suspect that when it comes time, they
Yeah,
will
you
They
think it's
will
very
switch
deep
me
down in.
on and then,
Yeah.
Katie bar the door, you know?
Yeah, okay. So you think, like a lot of other people think that they're giving this information, but it's just buried deep inside, and when it's ready to be released, whatever information that is, the time will come, and it will be released, right? And you will have
Yeah,
something to say. Huh? Very interesting. Okay.
yeah.
Uh, welcome,
You wanna
Don Moody.
you wanna hear
Wicked
about
Wolf.
another one?
Oh, yeah, you have another experience,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah.
Just,
Um,
welcoming everybody, Kevin. Hello,
yeah,
Kevin, how are you doing? Continue, sorry, Tom.
okay, let's see, this was another one of my dream things. Uh,
Okay,
I was laying in bed, and then I had the image, um, the feeling that someone came into the room from my right side.
okay.
Now, I always lay on my back. If I'm laying on my back and they're coming in from the right side, that's not where the door is. The door's on the left.
Mhm,
But people are coming in, and uh, there were two people that came in, uh, and they were, uh, if you picture uh, a Plains Indian, Native American,
mhm.
and in their traditional garb, they usually see them on TV programs and whatever.
Yeah,
And they came up to me, and one standing on each side of me, and they both reached down at the same time, touched my chest, and I felt the electric shock go through me, and then I was levitating,
Okay.
and then I woke up. Now, here's
Hmm.
the funny thing about this one.
Okay.
Um, um, I sleep in a queen size bed. My wife sleeps to my right.
Yes.
Well, lately she's been sleeping in a recliner to the right of that. So if somebody came in, they couldn't be standing on my right hand side
Hmm.
and doing whatever they're going to do because the bed's there, but they could on the left. So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know what that was all about.
Well, geez, they could manipulate anything, really. I mean, if they
I,
have the capability of doing what
yeah,
they do. But yeah, and then you just woke up. Okay, and
yeah,
again, a volt of like energy. So that's very interesting.
yeah.
Uh, did this come? How long after did this come from the person who asked to get energy from you to heal that person
Oh,
in
that
the
was,
'80s?
yeah, that was multiple years.
Multiple years. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
maybe they took something from you and they're giving it back. Who knows?
Boy, who knows?
Anything's plausible,
Who knows?
right?
Yeah, you bet.
Great. Thank you, Tracy Asteria, for dropping the links. If you guys like to join the Patreon page or join the channel, the links are right there. We have movie nights every Friday. Lots of other fun, cool stuff on the Patreon and the channel membership page. And just throwing this out there because so many questions, and I know we hop around a little bit, but we'll get back on track real quick. Tom, have you met anyone with implants? Ever seen the implants? Chris W.
Yes, yes. I have met someone with implants, um, and they did show me an implant, and it was a little itsy bitsy piece of metal. At least it looked like metal, and it was no bigger than the head of a pen.
Huh. Okay. Sounds about right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. And evidently, that person definitely was having visitations. I mean, that's what comes along with implants, right? So
yep, yep.
I don't know how deep you got in there, but um, Mr. Conwell, do you have an idea as to which aliens have been visiting you? Greys, tall whites, reptilians, or other? Droon asks.
Good question. I think they are Arcturians. I don't believe that they're the Greys because the Greys are kind of um, they aren't likable. Let's put it that way. And um,
The tall grays are not likable?
I don't think many of the Greys are likable.
Okay,
But
okay.
um, the I think they were Arcturians, but I can't be certain. Um, all I can say is that's a guess. Don't know.
Okay. Okay, and the Arturians, am I saying that correctly? Because I'm trying to
Arcturians, yeah.
Arcturians. Okay, what do they look like?
I never saw them.
Okay. Are they the white glowing energy beings that you
Maybe.
happen to see?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay, okay.
I really don't know because they never really showed me much. But I had all these experiences and they made me think that I was seeing things, but I knew I wasn't.
Then what makes you think that those are the ones that are visiting you?
Um, because they don't seem to think um, they don't seem to um, have much of an agenda outside of um, taking care of me.
Huh. Okay, interesting, very interesting. Well, let's move on. Let's see any other experiences that you had that stand out before we get to like UFO cases because I know you've read up on a lot. So anything else that's like stands out to you that actually happened to you?
Okay. Um, Let me look back at my notes here. I know there
Okay,
was
no
another
problem.
one that concerned me.
Who are the tall blonde aliens? Those are the Nordics?
Nordics. Yeah.
Yes, RTN. Cape Canaveral has a lot of reports around the area. Yep, and I heard you guys talking, everybody in the chat earlier, about the Great Lakes Triangle, which was very interesting that you guys brought that up. Lots of stuff. I live right on the edge of Lake Erie, so I hear you guys. So, anything there in the notes?
No, I can't. I knew there was something. I guess I just didn't write it down.
No,
But
that's all right. If it comes
yeah,
to mind, let me know. But I
yeah,
mean, that's already a handful of
yeah,
incidents that happen that not very many people even
no,
get to have, but they sound to me like uh abduction cases, even though
yeah,
you say the physical body. Well, but there's various
could
uh
be.
manners. Yeah, so
Yeah. But then um, when I wrote the third book, it happened again.
oh, okay, so okay, so
Right,
sightings were seen right before the third book came out,
right before,
a
and
day or two.
this was really I was I was helping work. I was already retired, of course, and helping the guys I used to work with at
Mhm.
nights.
Yeah.
And there was so happens a um, we couldn't get to a certain areas, so we had to go during the day,
Okay.
and they had us work during the day for a week. So and again, I don't know how they planned this, but um, I was driving into work and I had just crossed the Hudson River and I was ready to turn left to go down on the interstate.
Mhm.
And there was this bright red ball, I guess, is the only way I could describe it. It was approximately, well, I come to find out, it was approximately the size of a basketball,
Huh.
but it was super, super bright.
How far
And
away?
um, I couldn't really tell. I thought initially it was the top of a brand new tower that somebody put up,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know, um,
Yeah.
because there's towers all up and down the Hudson River here um,
But
for
this
the
was moving.
airplanes.
Yeah, but this was moving and all that, so you
No,
definitely knew it
no,
was
this was sitting still,
okay.
sitting still. So I'm approaching it
Okay.
and I'm looking at this thing thinking, wait, that's really weird. That's not a tower. What am I looking at? And it was at that point I had a turn to go down onto 787. So I hit my turn signal to turn left, and just then this ball charged the car.
Mhm.
It came right at the car, and it moved in a sinusoidal pattern. Right, that's a sine wave, like
Okay.
60 cycle power is a sine
Yeah.
wave. It moved in that kind of of a sequence, and
Hills up and down, up
just
and
yeah, and just before it hit the windshield, it took off and up to the right.
hmm. Okay, so fireball in the sky, fireballs in the sky, cigar-shaped UFO, red glowing object comes, hits the car, goes away. All during the time you're coming out with books. Very interesting, very interesting. Let me get to Rich Cat Ranch says, do you think aliens are actual supernatural beings or demons? So yeah, let's get into what do you think these are? Are they beings from another galaxy, part of the universe that are coming here to visit us? Are they demons? Are they supernatural beings? What are they?
I think there are two kinds. Number one, they are from another civilization living on another planet somewhere else.
Okay.
That's one type.
Okay.
Another type is I believe they are interdimensional. In other words, they may live a few inches from us, but we just can't see them yet.
Right. somewhat like the wormhole, isn't it? The wormhole theory, or
Mm,
no.
I'm not
String
thinking of
theory.
wormholes.
String theory. String
Okay.
theory.
Well,
It's
all
where
right.
the
Well,
dimensions are overlapping, and
yeah, but in the string theory, um,
am I
the
wrong?
dimensions that they're talking about are
Mhm.
submicroscopic.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
But
Th- this is not. What I'm
right.
talking about, a dimension that has length and width and height and everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, okay. Any of them supernatural or demonic or anything? No,
I don't believe
I don't
so.
think. Me
I
neither.
don't think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, okay. So we're on the same book there for sure.
Absolutely not demonic.
Yeah.
Um, um,
Even though a lot of well, yeah, no, you can be evil and not demonic, because
oh yeah.
when you start talking about all the abduction cases and uh, the pain that people feel when these things happen to them, that's not good. I mean, I don't know. That's just me. So I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trogdor demons, in no biblical definition, are cross-dimensional. Trogdor says exactly. Um, Let me ask you a question real quick. Why so many different species of aliens coming here to visit us without uh, any single one of them, becoming part of what we have on this earth? I mean, openly. I like to throw this question out there to guests because it doesn't make any sense to me unless we're a zoo and they're just coming to observe us.
Mhm.
Like I think I said this on last week's show, where we could be on this gigantic map, Earth, and all these different races are. Hey, let's go see the humans, on Earth, today, and because nothing else makes sense to me, because they should be here interacting. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Um,
Okay.
I spent quite a bit of my resources when I was doing my first three books on why they are here,
Okay.
and I looked at everything that I could think of that was physical. In other words, anything that would be important to us,
Hmm.
could it be important to them?
Okay.
And let me give you an idea. I looked at things like um, uh, long ago beliefs from our ancestors, archaeological findings, native rock paintings, burial mound sites,
Hmm.
earthquake frequencies, weather conditions, pollution, drilling, fracking, Superfund sites, water, coal fired, gas fired, and nuclear plants, precious minerals, geological conditions, oil and chemical spills. Um, and again, nuclear, oil fired, gas fired, coal fired power plants. I looked at all of those.
Okay.
And what I did was with each particular state, um, I tried to break it down. Like a particular state would be known for having a lot of pollution, and then I compared that with the kind of sightings that they're having. Are they having like a disproportional amount of sightings
Hmm.
there? So maybe that's the reason. So I looked at everything I could possibly think of, and I never really came up with a whole lot of reason why they would be here for any of our physical reasons.
Okay.
Nothing physical. All right.
Okay.
And then I um, did my last book, and my last book is entitled Earthquakes and UFOs. Okay. And
And
in
that's
that,
probably the one that's linked by itself, right?
yes, yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay.
And in that particular book, um, I noticed that there were there were um, sightings that weren't linked to earthquakes, but could
Hmm.
have been linked to something else. And I noticed patterns of these sightings all across the United States, away from where the earthquakes occurred.
Okay.
So,
What correlation was there
oh
between
boy,
these?
oh boy, the only thing that I could come up with, and this
Hmm.
is sort of a part of the conclusion of this book, the only reason that they would be coming here,
Hmm.
and these people have some of the best computers, the best storage facilities, um, the fastest computers. They don't really have any problem um, going through a scan across our lands and calling it up later because their computers are so good. So there's no reason for them to keep going over the same areas,
Okay.
right? So
Right.
why were they going over the same areas still to this date?
Hmm.
There was no reason other than there's something that was still changing,
Okay, but
right?
I don't get to the point though.
Yep.
And yeah, yeah, definitely everybody watch what you say in the chat there. YouTube picks up on stuff that shouldn't be said. But anyways,
Okay.
no, not you, Tom. What
Okay.
things were said in the thing. But
Okay.
again, I circle back. Why are they not landing, becoming part of society on this planet here that we call Earth? Why?
I
Uh,
think it's pretty much a hands-off policy.
you think so? You think
Yeah.
somebody out there is in control? And
Yep.
okay,
Yep. And
makes sense.
they've waved everybody off, but
Okay.
all these groups are around us. There's probably 50, maybe even as much as 100 different civilizations
Yes.
close enough that they could come to see us when a big event happens. And that big event is coming. That's why they're all here. And I don't know what the big event is,
Hmm.
but
Well,
something is changing.
yeah.
Something is, and what I did was theorize that um, the people on the planet are awakening,
Oh yeah.
and we're
Yeah.
going to have one great big awakening planet wide, and that's going to shake everyone to their core. Maybe that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, I'm going to have another guest on that will talk about exactly that because
Oh, good. Yeah.
because the big awakening that everybody says is coming is definitely the next step in in our evolution. We're
Yep.
supposed to reach this next level
Mhm.
of energy.
Yep. Yep.
Um, it's very confusing the way some people state it. Uh, but yes, it's a next level of being. And yes, I'm definitely going to have a guest on to talk about that a little bit more. So that definitely makes a lot of sense, Tom. That it's a hands-off policy. So I'm kind of right. It's somewhat like a zoo. I mean, hey, you guys can go and observe and watch, but hands off. Don't feed. Don't give them no water. Let them be. And see what happens. So, but any idea? Is the government involved whatsoever? Do you believe or no?
I think they're aware, but I
Or
don't think they're involved.
okay. And when I say government, again, I mean not necessarily the government, but some kind of agency or something on the planet that uh, you know deals with all of these other species.
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
I think there's probably a group of people who know who's around, and they also know that they're going to remain nameless, but they're there,
Okay.
and you know,
Well, interesting then. Yeah, no. So we've reached a point to where I'd like to start talking about a little bit. of all of the research that you've done, because you've put a lot of time and effort into case studies, and you literally took time to go through the entire, well, a certain point in time, you went through most of the National UFO Reporting Agency's database. And I'd like you to pick out some of the like biggest cases that stand out in your mind that you're just like, this was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So
There,
if you
well,
got one, please.
there's a lot, but if you want to know the truth, I would rather talk about volume 2 and
Okay.
what I found in volume 2. And the
Okay.
reason is anybody can read those case studies.
Right.
They weren't my case studies,
Right.
but I just copied them off the National UFO Reporting Center, and that was all part of my data.
Yeah, and it's a very, very large database, and something that's definitely interesting to go through and look at. And his books, Tom's books, are all down in the description. At least the first 4 are. The 5th book will be there eventually, but please go there and get the books and check it out. But yeah, I mean, but a case. Which one stands out the most to you? Any in particular?
Well, yeah, one that was in Hawaii,
Okay.
and let me see if I can find that.
Okay.
Uh,
Um,
Hawaii was interesting
okay.
because um, Alaska. Maybe this.
And let me say hello real quick to Don Moody in the chat and Nathan. What's going on? Good to see you guys here. Tracy Asteria with Tom's, the link to Tom's books. Thank you very much, Tracy. Trogdor, I wish UFOs for real was here. They'd love this live stream. Oh, somebody else. Okay. Yeah. Trogdor. Okay. Any luck on finding it?
Right next to it here. I know it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. This guy was a military retiree
Okay.
with a top secret clearance, and he was on a hill in in Hawaii, and
Hmm.
they were looking out, and this absolutely humongous ship. I mean, it was humongous,
Hmm.
miles long. Okay, it
Yeah.
it it sort of like was drifting through the air,
Hmm.
and it caught his attention, even though it was coming out from behind him. It caught his attention, and he turned around and looked at it, and he was with someone. So he said to that person, he got their attention and pointed up at it.
Okay.
Well, it just so happens that the people on this craft who were looking out
Hmm.
didn't say that they realized um, that they were being seen. It was
Hmm.
as if this was a tourist event, and they were just coming to look
Us.
at the planet. Yeah.
Okay.
And they realized that they were being seen, and then all of a sudden the thing disappeared.
Huh.
That's the one that's been in the back of my mind. Gee, I wonder if they have um, tourist trips from the
You know.
future, so that they can
Yeah.
come back and watch us go through our stupidity.
Well, yeah, from the future or just from another dimension or whatever, or
Yeah.
however they get here as fast as they do, from but that definitely ah somebody take care of that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Um Don't have the chat settings right, but thank you. But yeah, no, that's a very interesting case for sure. Sounds exactly like yeah, tourist, like the cruise ship coming along and checking out things. But yeah, definitely very cool.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ones that definitely stand out the most to you, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are hundreds of others.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
And are they in
Um,
the book?
Pardon me?
And they're in the book, right?
Yeah. Uh, what I did was I went through each particular state, um, reading every single long description, and I realized that when I did that, um, there were some that were just so extraordinary.
Hmm.
So I went back and marked them, and then cut and paste them and put them in the book
Yeah.
because they were just so extraordinary.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, they were really something.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Cryptids could be alien beings planted here for viewing novelty, or they could be homegrown or Mother Earth. Trogdor, the Burninator says. Yeah, another interesting question and your thoughts on
Yep.
it as you're part of the paranormal and ufology. When it comes to cryptids such as Bigfoot and other beings, a lot of people think that, some people think that they pop in and out of dimensions. Others think they're put here, uh, just like he said, to like kind of play with our minds or whatever. I mean, what are your thoughts on Bigfoot and some of these other cryptids?
Well, when I first started in with paranormal,
Hmm.
um, someone tried to tell me about Bigfoot, and I went, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah,
And uh,
yeah.
but what I realized after listening to the reports, reading about the reports,
Hmm.
and and get into all the various things. Um,
Yes.
Very weird. Getting all these booms outside. I think there's some fireworks going on. Um,
Oh, gotcha. Okay. As long as it wasn't a spirit off to your right
yeah,
there.
no, 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 no.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but once I once I once I heard a couple of the reports,
Hmm.
then I knew that they weren't making it up.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, there's literally every single day around the globe, but even in this country, there are sightings of Bigfoot and such cryptid type creatures. So, it's something's going on,
Yeah,
but you really don't have a conclusion one way or the other. I mean, during all of your research through the National UFO Reporting Agency and all that, did anything come up where cryptids were involved?
not many,
Okay.
really, not very many.
Okay.
Um,
Hmm.
um, no, um, a lot of the things when they were written about cryptids, um, they were either deleted by the guy who was running the database,
Hmm.
or he would write on their hoax.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
And there's a lot of that in the database.
Okay.
So I didn't take very much from that, but I did take a lot out of multiple people who have um, had close encounters with Bigfoot, and some of them were telepathic, and some of them were
Yeah.
frightening, and yeah, there's something going on there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's the subject for another show. I mean, there's so many explanations for, cryptids and Bigfoot and everything else too. I mean, interdimensional. Are they? I even heard a person talk about the alien Bigfoot kind of connection with them being somewhat of projections,
Yeah,
which is the reasoning why a lot of times, prints would just stop in the middle of nowhere and they don't go on. It's like, okay, so what's going on there? But anyways, Chris W. also asked Tom, when ETs speak to you, or at least the couple times that you heard voices, are they telepathic downloads or do they have voices? What kind of voices?
Okay. Good. That was a good question. Um, I believe that they're telepathic downloads, and I don't I don't understand them as a voice. It's not like a voice, but after after a while, it's like um, sitting in a lecture hall, and you just can't take anymore.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
It's just
it's
like,
just overwhelming. It really is overwhelming.
yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of people say that. A lot of people who have encountered these types of, alien, abduction cases, stuff like that, and they seem to have the same kind of experience for sure. Um, let's see. Tracy has another question. She says, with your experience, do you find certain parts of the world are considered hotspots for activity? She's from Nova Scotia, and the big experience we have here is the Harbor incident.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
yeah, yeah. I think Tracy, you're probably going to find that there are a whole lot of sightings of fireballs that are coming in from over the ocean. Um, that's the one thing you'll find up in Nova Scotia, and
Hmm.
um, and there are a whole lot of really hot spots. The entire state of Florida,
Hmm.
um, northern South Carolina, in the area um, of Myrtle Beach,
Okay.
and southwestern North Carolina up in the mountains. Um, and then we have in the mountains of northwestern um, northwestern Arkansas, and then is some areas the along the Gulf of Mexico in Texas,
Yes. Yes.
and then there's some areas that are to the east of the mountains in Colorado, and
So there's
mostly
definitely hot. Yeah, there's definitely hot spots all over the
yeah,
country,
there
and
are.
and again, I think if we read your book, I think you point that out because the books are titled. The first one goes the Eastern, then you got a book on the Western, and then in the middle, right? Am I
Yep,
wrong?
yep, yep,
Okay,
yep.
so
And I
you
also have a UFO sighting map.
okay, so there you go. Yep, there
Yeah,
you go.
and
Uh,
that's US wide. I don't
okay.
know if I can include that on your thing here. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We'll continue to talk. I see your friend is there on your lap right now.
Oh yeah, that's Chrissy.
Hey, hey there, Chrissy. What's going on? Oh, you got headphones on, so
Yeah,
Chrissy's
yeah,
not gonna hear me.
yeah, she doesn't hear you.
Anyways, okay, so that's an hour of UFO talk. I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the paranormal investigations you've been on.
Okay.
I don't know how long that lasted, or I'd like to get in kind of some of the spooky side of things here. If you've encountered some of those on any of your investigations, have you seen any full on spirits?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was I was the first one to a customer's area, and the customer was sitting outside. There were two ladies, and they were having a smoke. And I do remember the two guys that were in there were working on the house, and they took their tool bags with them and went out to the car and left. So
Hmm.
I thought, well, all right, I'm sitting here by myself. Actually, I was with my son Tim, who was in your chat, and
Okay.
um, we walked up to them, and I introduced myself, and we were just chatting about the building. It was an old building, and they were renovating it, and
Okay.
so the
Just like
lady.
a commercial building, or
No, it was it was an old house that almost looked like it was commercial at one point. Now it's a house.
okay,
Okay,
gotcha, gotcha.
so um, she said to her daughter, who was working on her homework, and her daughter was like right next to her, and she
Hmm.
said, "Will you go upstairs and get my cigarettes or something?" I don't recall what it was she said. I said, "Well, why don't you have the guy that was just over there go up and get it for you?" And she said, "Tom, we're alone." So
Okay.
uh, for the rest of the night, um, where that guy walked,
Hmm.
I kept going back with my millimeter and looking at where the path that was he took where he walked, and found out that on that path where he walked like from right to left. On that path where he walked, there was high EMF.
Hmm. Okay.
No
Makes
other
sense.
place,
Yeah.
just on that path where he walked. And I just thought that was um, very interesting. That's all.
Oh yeah. It's data to back up
Yep.
the story, you know.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
Usually when something like that happens or something appears, the EMFs and whatever meters you got going there, depending, spike, and you can write them down as factual evidence of something weird happening if it kind of
Yep.
coincides. But anything you ever see, did you ever eyes on the prize? You see
Yep.
anything?
Yep.
Okay.
Um, I was with our team psychic. It
Okay.
was he and I alone up in the attic of a shaker house. Now, I don't know if you guys know what shaker is, but the Shakers are very similar to the Quakers.
Okay.
Um, and but they are a little bit more into the spiritual stuff. Okay, so
Okay.
this is a very old um, grouping of Shakers, uh, and their houses still existed, and we were investigating. And in the attic of their meeting house, which is where they meet for everything, in the attic of the meeting house, I was up there with with the um, the
Psychic.
psychic, yeah.
Okay.
And uh, he said to me, "Tom, look over in front of me." So I was about 15 feet from him. So I turned around and looked over in front of where he was, and there was this sort of a dull glow in the air. And
Okay.
I said, "Do you mean that thing is glowing?" He says, "Yeah. Um, this is part of the um, seance that we had before,
Hmm.
and the person who um, left the area um, when I was doing a reading, he had committed a murder, and he had the two or three people that he was with during the murder, and including the soul that he took, and they were all trapped with him. So
Huh.
yeah, so as we stood there, this thing got brighter and brighter, and the inside of this was about the size of a beach ball, and the inside of this, um, let me give you a mental image. Uh,
Mm.
you've all seen a lava lamp. You know, the blobs of lava that go up
Right.
and cool down and settle back down on the bottom. You know,
Hmm.
um, uh, it looked like a lava lamp um, of these blobs inside of this glowing orb, and
Hmm.
and the psychic said to me, "Those are the spirits that he trapped with him when he died."
Huh.
Yeah, and I thought that was okay. That was very interesting. Uh,
And this came from a séance that they were performing, or what?
I think it sort of stirred the pot a little bit. The séance was about an hour and a half before we did this
Okay.
investigation up in the attic, and
Oh,
the
okay. I got
séance occurred directly beneath that in the meeting area.
you. Okay.
It was
Well,
cool. I mean, it was really cool.
well, is this a popular like case? Is this something well known in the area and all that? I mean,
What do you mean
uh,
case?
uh, well, you said the house or this person trapped the souls of these other spirits.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get a feel on who this person was and how he was capable of doing that.
Okay. I don't know who he was,
Okay.
um, but he worked there, and the people that were Shakers, um, they lived with the men being on one side and the women on the other, and they were always separate.
Okay.
Apparently, they were always separate until the time that this guy decided to mix it up a little bit, and I guess someone got pregnant and they had to get rid of the baby because it would have tipped off everybody who it was.
Okay. So all this information came from the psychic and what she was feeling.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Well, man, I mean, that's a heck of a story. I'd love to find out. Oh my God, I would love to find out a little bit more of that because
Yeah.
if somebody's capable of like just a simple shaker, um, you know, able to trap the souls of other people who die, it's I mean, it's just so interesting. I don't know. It's these are the things that you definitely would like to have more information on because those are the things that are scary when you think of afterlife.
Yeah.
You got to run for your life to get to that white light or whatever. I mean,
Oh yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Uh, okay.
I think he was tied to these people
Mm,
because he took one of their lives and maybe two.
okay. Uh, let's see. UFOs, no jokes. Those people probably got trapped because they all experienced the same traumatic event and never made peace with it before they died. Interesting point. Could be, definitely. They could have all stayed there, and once they got yeah, good one. UFOs, no joke. Tracy Asteria says, Tom, if you have time, would you be able to touch on the Seven Fires prophecy and how it may relate to the paranormal and ufology? I just started reading up on that. Uh,
Okay. Well, um, among the things that I did when I was looking at the various states is in the central U.S. Um, I looked at the Native American settlements,
mhm.
and there apparently was a rather large Native American settlement that was um, the Native Americans were descendants of the um, no, not the Algonquin. I've forgotten. Darn it! But anyhow,
Yeah.
um, they lived initially in northern Canada on the coast, and an area may have been um, that they lived in Nova Scotia too. So, uh, what is interesting about that
Mhm.
is that um, right after the uh, the last great flood, there were people who, groups of people who survived, and these people started to get together, and the water had receded, and leaves are starting to grow up on trees and everything else. And in order to make sure that the civilizations around the world were going to survive, there was groups of people. Hesitate to say people because I don't know what they were. There were groups who came out of the water
Mm-hmm.
who were half man and half fish, and these groups
Hmm.
taught the Native Americans how to put together their settlements, um, how to settle, grow food, how to live, and all kinds of things there. And there were also thoughts. Excuse me. There were also stories about the people that came out of the water, um, who were half man and half fish. Uh, they were they appeared in the lore of um, people of the Dogon tribe in Africa, of uh, tribal get-togethers in India and
Okay.
uh, Iran and Iraq and Australia. And
Mm-hmm.
anyhow, it's the same group of people who came out of the water to teach the people of our planet how to live.
Huh.
And to one of the groups of people in the northern Canada, they gave them the seven fires prophecy, and the seven fires was each time that there was going to be a major event in that they were going to experience over the next multiple thousands of years,
Yeah.
they labeled it a fire, so to speak. So it was an event.
Okay.
And these things included their travel from northern Canada down along the St. Lawrence Seaway across northern um, the northern Great Lakes,
Mm-hmm.
and where they settled in Wisconsin and northern Michigan and Minnesota.
Okay.
And this group, um, this group of Indians, let's see if I can remember their name now. They were the. Wish I had my books with me, but I don't have them next to me.
Yeah, that's all
They,
right. The story is the most important
yeah,
part. If you remember the names, that's great.
but they were told that
Mhm.
over the next 100 years, they will meet people with white skin, and these people will um, bring uh, great harm to the Native Americans. They were going to um, uh, give them trials and tribulations where their children would break away from them. Um,
Hmm.
their uh, their children would stop listening to their elders, and then when they finally get back together, um, that the white people, the white race, would need to um, they would need to make a decision, and
Mhm.
that decision was going to be that they were going to have to decide whether they needed to um, get rid of their technologies or suffer some negative consequences from what their technologies are causing the planet to be. In other words, pollution and things like that. They're going to mess up the planet. And one of the fires suggested that if and when the white people chose the wrong choice, that there would be a major reset on the planet, that the Native Americans would be taken off the planet, that the reset would occur, everyone would pass on, and the Native Americans would be brought back to the earth to start again.
Yep.
That's basically the Seven Fires prophecy.
Yeah, something I've heard of many times too. So yeah, definitely a very interesting thing. I wonder what happened of those half men, half fish people who came from the water.
I believe they're still in the water.
You do believe they're still there? Okay.
Yeah. And I believe that they're probably they probably were involved, at least in part, in tinkering with our DNA and making us what we are.
Really? Okay.
Yep. Along with the grays, the tall grays, doing the same thing.
Who do you think these half? You think they're native to this world?
I don't know what they are, but I do know that they're under the water.
And any other evidence of them other than coming out of the water and the mythology and the folklore and everything else that comes with that,
Constantly out of the water. People see them all the time rising up from the water. And at night.
To this day?
Pardon me?
To this day, they still do?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And from places like the east coast of Florida and and east of Myrtle Beach, if you look out onto the ocean at night, very, very often you'll see orange spheres hovering over the ocean. Sometimes they come inland, but they just get up there and do what they're going to do. And that is very, very often.
Well, so they can be a species of alien species that kind of just live in the water, and who knows? That's a very interesting thing, and one I haven't delved deep into. Is that an old school phone? What is that, Tom?
Yeah, that was my phone.
Okay, very cool. Okay. Tracy said thank you for explaining that. I can't believe that we're almost at the end of the show here. It's almost at the bottom of the hour, almost 90 minutes. Let me just
fast.
Yes, time went really, really fast. RTN says, "Is that my phone?" Yeah, it could be. In all of the paranormal investigations that you were on, which I don't know how many you went on, but was that something that like kind of convinced you that, hey, there is something, you've seen enough that you kind of do believe that there is something, there's an afterlife, there's kind of the spirit world and stuff like that?
I always thought there was. I didn't have any reason to think there was, but I just always thought there was. And when I saw what I saw those 2 different times, I was absolutely certain that was it.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody wants to get a hold of you there, Tom.
Yes, they
do. Anyway, there you go. Let's see. It was the weirdest video of anything like that I ever seen, says Edward Stewart. You can get fresh water from salt water. Yes, you can. Yeah, I'll let Tom talk real quick, and then he'll get back on, and then we will finish this up. Okay, there you go, Tom.
Yeah.
Hey, Never know if it's important. But anyways, we're wrapping up here. So all 5 books, are they doing well?
Well, I didn't write it to get rich.
Well, no, of course. You're doing
Yeah.
it to learn something. Learn.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, I get it. But
Yeah.
you still would like, the books to get out there and for
Yeah.
people to see what you've done. So
See this one?
yes.
Going Interstellar.
Yes.
This is a collection of the blogs that I wrote that talked about how we can go there. And this is the book, if you're really wanting to get into UFOs and how to do things, this is the book you need to read. I kept this book artificially low in cost. I think it's
Yeah.
only $10.
Okay.
Um, and I would highly recommend that one for absolutely everybody.
Okay, and that is the one that's in the link, in there,
Yep.
Tracy Asteria just put the link again in the chat for,
Yep.
his book. So, yeah, no, definitely. Boy, this book went by really, really fast, Tom.
Yep. Yo, it
I would
did.
yes, and thank you, Tracy, for the, $5 Canadian super chat there. So thank you. Tom, very interesting. Another fascinating evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Thank you for everything. Okay, there's a lot of thanks going on. I appreciate
Yep.
everything. Everyone in the chat, you guys are fantastic as always. But Tom, I might have to have you back on eventually here.
Okay. Well,
If
I'd love to come on. This was a lot of fun.
Good, good, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I tell you what, the one thing that sticks out to me out of everything we've talked about was the kind of the daydream you had there with the egg ship UFO a la Mork from Orc. But anyways,
That was cool. Yeah, that was cool.
oh,
Yeah.
that's a good story. And the fact that you definitely do believe it wasn't a dream and
Yeah.
that there was some real aspect to that it is just so interesting. And I bet you're glad that something came of everything after you decided after all those years to hop on into the field and see what's out there, right? And something
Um,
happened.
yeah.
Several things.
Yeah. And I never thought anything would, but as soon as I was turned on to it, it's like the floodgates opened.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. But again, everybody check out the links below to Tom's books and yeah, thank you, Tom. I'm going to let you go now and I appreciate it and I will hopefully talk to you again in the future.
Okay. Excellent. Can't wait.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom. You
Okay.
take care, bud.
Okay. Bye, Dino.
Bye. Okay, so there you go, man. Yeah, Tom Conwell. Definitely check out his books. I see everybody still in the chat saying thanks and everything else. S hash Jans. I didn't see you. Well, I saw you, but I didn't say hello before. Got to get up really early and play. Yeah, appreciate it. Cam's Crash Courses. Thanks, Dino, Tom. Fun, amazing conversation. Hello, everyone lurking. Lots of lurkers, I'm sure. But yes, I get ready tonight for Detective stream tonight. Dangerous Detectives, old time radio shows all night long. I'm not putting the timestamps in at the moment, just because I'm surprising you guys. Just like radio shows back in the day, you would turn on the radio and sometimes you didn't know what was coming up next. I figured, you know what? I've streamed just about everything. Well, no, I haven't. I've got plenty more to stream. But I'd like to just surprise you guys on some episodes. I mean, you're going to get Dragnet. You got Sherlock Holmes. You got Night Beat. You've got, some good old classics in there. But you guys will definitely enjoy the stream tonight, like every night, right? There's always new stuff or revisiting some classics. So there you go. Tomorrow night, nothing on here because we have movie night and on Patreon and for the channel members. Be sure to check out for the links at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. It is going to be Night of the Creeps, so it's a good one. I love this movie. Night of the Creeps is a great 80s cheesy, somewhat, yes, yeah, cheesy horror flick, but it's just fantastic. So you guys chose right this week. So we will definitely have some fun tonight, Friday night. And Saturday, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Some say the worst movie ever made, but let me tell you, there's been worse movies than that. I can assure you that Plan 9 from Outer Space is not the worst movie ever made. And look at this, Dave Plouffe. Hey, just got home from work. Looking forward to watching this episode from the beginning. $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Dave Plouffe, for the super chat. And yes, you will enjoy it. Tom had some interesting things to say. And again, the egg shape, you'll see it, just egg-shaped dream. Yeah, you'll love that part for sure. It was definitely some interesting stuff that we talked about. So yes, to everybody here, and thanks to everybody who gave a super chat, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Like I said, the only other thing to do is to join the channel or join the Patreon, and then you're fully entranced into everything on the channel. Evil Bong. Yeah, no more Evil Bongs. RTN Production says Plan 8 is not a bad movie. Bad movies are boring. Plan 9 is not boring. No way is it boring. But trivia night on Saturday. So and Sunday will be me and Ginger. We will be talking about the New York Ripper, and that's a Lucio Fulci. It's a giallo film by Fulci, and it's another deep horror film that if you don't like the deep dark horror stuff, if we're going to talk about some gore and some other things, just stay away from it, I guess. Parental discretion, no, not parental discretion, but just know what you're in for when you come to listen to us talk about the movie, because it's early Italian horror. So you're going to get what you get. Anyways, let me get out of here and get ready to start the stream overnight tonight. Much love to each and every